Hey everyone, welcome. It's me, Rhea here, and
her son, Caleb.
I don't want to take over every time. I'll let you introduce yourself. Just here with our daily message, Gaia's Guidance, paragraph 3 of LMR, Losing My Religion. I don't want you to get the wrong idea of losing my religion, because it's not necessarily about religion, even though I have a lot of religious examples. It's about breaking down your walls to release what's inside. It's about breaking the shell of confinements, beliefs that you've been holding on to that you aren't even maybe aware of. It's like punching through them, back fisting through them, front kick, rise and block them away. It's just about being free and stepping into who you are. You can almost think of it as an egg, and your frequency or your soul is that yolk, and you want it to ooze out into your life. In order for that to happen, you gotta break through the shell. And that's what this book is about. That's what all our paragraphs are about. And just being who you are. Even in the spiritual community, there's sometimes our own self-perceived or conceived little paradigms or beliefs. I know
Pre-programmed stigma?
Pre-programmed stigma, yeah, stigma. Even within myself, I notice sometimes I'll get in a habit of thinking, or not the habit, but I'll notice or catch myself comparing or thinking, oh my God, I'm not soft-spoken, I'm not sugar-sweet, I'm not all namaste all the time. I'm more like a and that's okay, because we all have our own frequency. It's okay that I'm loud. It's okay that I'm obnoxious. It's okay that I'm spontaneous, impulsive, intense, passionate. We all have our divine frequency, and it's about breaking down the walls to release truly what's inside. It's all beautiful. We're all beautiful. We all are an intricate thread in this beautiful tapestry. So, that is the basis of this book and of me, Caleb and I sharing in our teachings. And if we don't get off that hamster wheel of those same, like Caleb was saying, what did you say? Stigmas, beliefs.
Pre-programmed stigma, perceptions.
Pre-programmed.
Subconscious living.
That we have running in our mind. We stay on that hamster wheel. If we want to create new lives and a new earth or hop to new timelines, we have to make different decisions.
Assist in the collective parallel realities, or moving forth through the collective parallel.
Yeah, moving forth.
The collective into that parallel reality where we have a new earth, really.
Yeah, and not only that, it starts with us first creating our own reality, but that will automatically sync with the collective that is in alignment to our own personal reality that we're creating. So we create our own, and then we collectively attract that or shift to the reality that matches that frequency. So if we want to match the frequency of this reality that we have in our mind, we need to make different decisions. We need to see, or sometimes re-examine, take a step back. And Caleb will always say, be the observer behind the projection, behind the illusion. Because we are creating it. We're creating all of it. And if we can't step back and observe, instead of being just in it all the time and just going through the motion, and I don't want to say instinctively, what would the word be? If you're just going through the motion without any thought. What is it called when you're in a pattern and you're just running it and you don't know you're doing it? Habitual. No thinking, no consciousness to it. You're going to keep creating and being and living in that same timeline. And we hear a lot about shifting timelines. Well, in order to shift to the timeline, your frequency has to match that timeline.
And just by being aware of all this and being aware of your habitual habits and your subconscious program and your daily running through the rat race mumbo jumbo, that automatically raises your vibration to move into that higher level of consciousness, if you will. And there's infinite levels of consciousness all the way up into leaving your body and becoming, reabsorbed into the one infinite creator. But not to dive too deep there, essentially is if you change these, you make these conscious shifts, you raise your vibration, and anything that raises your vibration is ultimately going to assist in the collective vibrational elevation, if you will. And if you're, yeah.
And you create a eternal unlimited number of new potentials. Just through your awareness, you are creating new potentials of timelines to shift to.
Not only for yourself, but others and the collective. And God bless those that are actually interacting with you on a regular basis, because they'll also benefit from these new bared fruits, if you will.
Well, and we are benefiting also. It's always this and that, because the others, or they, are still just a projection of an aspect of our own energy. We're not separate. It's still all one. We're still all interconnected through the divine source energy.
Yeah, but you can be closer connected, as in we're closer connected in our divine dual energy, which is non-dual really, than somebody, say, down the road being affected without really knowing it.
And they can also be reflecting energies that are echoing old frequencies that we were operating in. And they're also serving contrast. Sometimes we need contrast in order to realize what vibration, what frequency we're operating in. But I still believe nothing can be in your reality unless you match it. There might be different variations, like you said, variations of that reality, a little closer and tighter to your tribe per se, or your soul frequency, but there's still variations of you. You can't exist in a reality that isn't in some way on your radar, is what I'm saying.
Well, we know we learn and wake up to ourselves through contrast. You can't have white without black. You cannot have night without day. So everything is contrast.
Contrastual.
Contrastual.
Yeah. So I'm not even sure what the chapter is going to be today. So I'll just read it and go from there. And it says, now if the key of all our happiness is in our treasure chest, which is one with the same as our heart, wouldn't it make sense that our number one priority in life would be to discover what lies within our heart? How do we go about this amazing discovery? Well, first and foremost, we open the door by simply believing we hold the most amazing and significant treasure of all time within our very being. And secondly, we embrace the magnificent journey of life.
You have a question for me?
No. So how I interpret this paragraph is simply that if you don't even believe or can conceive that there is a bigger you out there, a higher self, a God, source energy, if you don't even believe that,
then it will never even be possible. So you do need to have that anchored belief before all else.
Well, I can't say it's not possible, because no matter what, even if you don't believe it, you are still a reflection of that.
So
You're just choosing.
All is possible, including your non-belief.
Right.
Because to have a non-belief is still to have a belief in a source of creation.
Yeah, exactly. And yet that's just your experience, because then when you die and leave the physical body, you're still going to enter and be with the fullness of who you are. But you got to still kind of have a belief that, or a connection to knowing there's an energy beyond you.
To knowing that you're the creator, whether you're creating subconsciously or consciously, and to wake up to the heart space is to find the key of a never-ending infinite love, light, awareness as the creator, or to move into the parallel realities you want, which is actually happens through your vibrational shifting.
I guess what I'm saying is you have to acknowledge you have a treasure chest, that you have a heart, and that your power lies in your heart. Otherwise, you kind of might live life just going about it and being part of it, but not actually taking a creative, self-empowering stance. But then that raises the question, what about people that don't even believe in a God, because they're still fulfilling their purpose, but I guess they're doing it
You're doing this. They're just doing it subconsciously. You're creating subconsciously, so why not wake up to creating consciously?
Yeah.
You're the creator either way. So rather than be creating, sleeping, subconscious could be equated to sleeping, doing things habitually without rhyme or reason, without really understanding. And those rhyme or reasons are oftentimes influenced by your external social conditioning.
Or basing your creations and your reality, oh my God, from the outside. So instead of, you almost got to realize, you have to realize you are creating the outside. The outside isn't influencing or has control or determines what you create. You're creating it. So I think that's the difference, knowing that you are creating the reality, where a lot of people only operate from the physical reality. They're kind of stuck in that. And so their timeline doesn't shift. You got to kind of step back and realize, well, where's all this coming from?
It's not about where you're going, it's about where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Because the physical reality that you're in now is old news. It's already a projected outcome from within. So it's not about where you're going, because you'll never actually get anywhere if you take your vibrational influence from the external illusion or reality. It has to come from within. So you have to consciously wake up, stop working out of your subconscious. So consciously take control of your vibration and where you want to come from to get where you actually want to go.
And this is sort of good. Like, say if you're in a tub and the water's flowing and all of a sudden the water's just overflowing and going and going and going, and you're like, oh my God, how do I stop this water? I just got to swim. Oh my God, I got, like, say you're in a huge vat of water and you don't know, and you think you got to like wipe it up and you just can't stop the flow and you're trying to get out, or it's on too hot, when all you have to do is turn the handle and it shuts off. You're the one actually in control of all that water flooding in your life, all whatever you're going through coming in your life, when all you have to do is take the self-empowerment and shut the handle. Make the conscious decision to change your decision, change your mind, shift your focus, and then pull the plug and all the water drains out.
Well, actually, it's almost, I get this analogy from Bentinho Massaro, and say you have a divider in the tub, and there's water here, and then there's water here. Soon as you change your thought perception and your vibration, it's like lifting that, and automatically there's no time delay. The new water flows right in as you shift completely into new parallel realities.
Well, that's a good analogy, but it's not like showing that you got all this stuff coming at you out of the faucet. The faucet's already turned off, so that takes it to a different layer.
And if it's turned off, the water's becoming stagnant, so your illusion's becoming a dirty, smelly little pond because there's no more flow. And actually, when you lift that barrier, it starts to flow again, and you become more purified, more crystallized, more vibrationally aligned to the truth.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Which makes another point is when you break through your walls, or you break free of paradigms, or you question it and say, oh, this isn't working for me, but do I dare to do this instead? But yeah, you do dare, because otherwise your timelines aren't going to shift, your reality's not going to shift, and things are just going to keep creating the same. But you got to step out of that comfort zone. It's a scary thing when you've been living in that same and traveling that same route. It's all like, you know it, you feel you have control over it, so-called control, but yet you're dissatisfied and not happy maybe with the results. And it is going to take a little bit of inner strength from your part just to make the decision to step out of your comfort zone. Stretch yourself a little bit. Like even Caleb and I doing this stuff, it's stretching us a little bit. It's taking us out of our comfort zone. We hit the live button. We're not pre-recording. And that can bring up all sorts of fears. What if something happens while we're going live and people see it? Or what if no one shows up, which right now there is no one, but it's okay because someone might see it later. And that doesn't even matter either. It matters that we are taking a conscious decision, produce or shift to a timeline that we want to create.
And to express yourself in any way, shape, or form is to raise your vibrational frequency anyway. And the more humility you're willing to accept, the more empowered you are to express yourself. And if you are more empowered, you're more likely to raise that vibration more exponentially, rather than just boop, 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 because you're scared. Boop, oh, I'm scared. But if you just say, I don't give a fuck, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone sees you, affirms you, whatever. None of that shit matters. And I think that's a huge, huge thing in the human mind. What if, what if, what if? Who cares? Who cares? Like he said, when you step out, you step up into your higher frequency, And it is hard. It is hard to do that because it does create unease. You're like a little bird putting out your wings and leaving the nest. What if I fall in that pool? What if I just land and break a leg? What if? Well, you don't know until you try, and even in the trying, and even in the stepping out, and even in that decision to go forward, like he says, you raise your vibration, and that is going to attract or shift you to another reality where there's limitless possibilities available to you there that might not have been in that previous mindset.
And to not care about what others thinks moves you a step forward into them having to deal with only what your ego thinks, and to express yourself is to cleanse and kill your ego. And as you cleanse and kill your ego through self-expression, the closer you get to opening up the heart space ultimately, which is the highest vibration.
Yeah. And that goes back to also that paragraph. It's about opening up the heart space. And you can't access that which you're not willing to confront. You can have a treasure chest, you can have it in a closet, you can have all these sheets over it and pillows, and there could be like a lot of money in there. But unless you actually open the closet, take all the layers off, open up the treasure chest, and find your riches, it's not going to help you. We all have our riches, but unless we're willing to turn the key to our heart through just believing there's something there, not even having the mind having to comprehend it, it doesn't matter. But just taking a step in faith in itself is a high frequency.
And just to add to that, you ultimately cannot run or hide or avoid anything. There is no spiritual bypass to your higher self. So what goes around comes around until you accept and transcend it, until you investigate it, to see the lack beliefs in it, so you can balance it and move into the higher frequency one by one. So if you're just running and hiding, you're fooling yourself and you're continuing to go around on the carousel. And if you can consciously accept that, then that's fine, because free will is the first law of creation. Except just don't complain about where you're
Good point. If you're not willing to step out or step up, you really have no reason to complain, because all you're doing is solidifying that reality you don't like. Okay. So I'm stepping out too. Instead of doing one of my Gaia's guidance cards, I'm going to do I pulled, just was shuffling, and the card that popped out, chakra, our energy points. And whoever happens across this, or for Caleb and I, the card that resonates for our message today is this one. It's the yin yang symbol. The number is 6, which means harmony, balance, and it's the color of the root chakra, our connection to earth, our connection to the physical. And for me, how we were talking about manifesting the physical, you need that balance of the spiritual energy coming forth, the belief, the invisible world, and balancing it through your physical vessel to the earth by taking an action. We can have all these ideas up here forever and things we want to do, but until we're willing to step into the idea and be that energy, then it can physically manifest in your physical realm. And again, it's to do with shifting. We're always shifting to a new reality, a new existence. Everything already exists now. It's matching the frequency. But if you're not willing to match the frequency by stepping in and being the frequency, you're not going to be able... Hi, Linda. Linda Cord. I don't know if she wants to say her last name. Linda from Swanton. How are you? You're not going to be able to manifest that. You're not going to be able to create that. And you need the yin and yang, the opposing forces that create a irritant, like a conflict like this, but that is where the expansion happens. That is the place where you create. It's when you find the balance of the yin and yang, and you can get in that fine line in between. You will let both forces work for you, and then you create.
And to kind of reconnect on what we were saying earlier, in order to find the actual balance, you see the circle here, which encompasses everything. You do have to accept what continues to come up and transcend that in order to find that balance, because what goes around comes around. Until you find the balance within those adverse variables, experiences, thoughts, programs, stigma, mindset, in order to find that balance. And if you don't balance those that continue to go around, you'll never actually find that balance. And if you don't find that balance, you can't ultimately shift into the most desired parallel reality, which is your ultimate desired creation.
You
as the creator.
You have to integrate the opposing forces and accept and allow them to be. Because if you fight it, you create more resistance.
The more you push against
and then it happens
the
more
it
and more.
pushes back.
It's stronger, pushes back. Like the more I push him and he resists, and then we're just fighting. But if he just goes with it, then I fall and I'm not pushing and hurting him so badly.
Fall forward.
Fall forward.
And
Good point.
And the red, of course,
Hey, Chantel!
The root chakra is to be anchored and grounded in the truth of your being, which will allow you to better balance all those things that continue to go around and come around. And the truth of your being is that pure awareness. None of the actual emotions or experiences are you, because it's not aware of you. You are aware of it. So therefore, sit in your awareness and see that none of it is actually directly affecting you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, this brings something up to point, like fear. Like, you know how you have to sometimes use your free will and step beyond the fear? How are you integrating and allowing fear and not fighting it if you're kind of forcing yourself to move beyond it? You know what I'm saying? So we say we want to accept and allow. Is it the same to say, okay, I accept this fear, but I choose it not to be real, then move forward? We're still integrating the fear there, and...
Are you aware of the fear, or is the fear aware of you?
I'd say I am aware of the fear because I'm actually creating the fear.
Therefore,
which is an illusion.
Which therefore you can then switch your awareness to something that isn't fearful, and you can transcend that fear right there.
Okay, I just try to, like, in case someone, and even myself, like, it just brought that point, like, before I was pushing against the fear, but okay, that's a better way to look at it. We gotta transmute it as opposed to fighting it. Take a different perception of whatever that challenge or
Change the perception to, if you have the awareness to create the fear, you also have the awareness to change the perception of that fear to feel better. Otherwise, if you continue to stay stuck on that fear, that's the vibrational frequency that you're going to hang out at, and that is the reality you're going to hang out at.
Yeah. You ultimately always have the creator stance on everything.
And so they always say, why do bad things happen to good people, but the good person gets stuck on a perception that creates fear, insecurity, and lack-based perception. So that's why they continue to create that reality, even though deep down they're good people, while maybe someone that perceives someone as being a bad person, why are good things happening? Well, that bad person doesn't get stuck on a perception that lowers their frequency. That's why they say, the conscious killer always gets away, because they're conscious of how they feel and what they do. So they perform an act, which may be right or wrong, but then they refocus their perception on something that keeps their vibration up, and they continue to just move through the parallel realities.
And that's another thing about life. They always say there really is no right or wrong. There's just the experience. And if we can take it from that perception, then we allow everything. Mm-hmm. And through that allowance, then you receive a higher frequency world back, ironically. You ironically receive the new earth, or your heaven on earth, or the reality you want to live in, by allowing what you see to happen without resistance. And then that creates space for the heart frequency to flow in order to reflect back that which you are. Would you agree with that? Or?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And even as you watch this video, you can ask yourself, is my subconscious creating perceptions of what I'm hearing? And is it making me feel a certain way? Whether you agree or disagree, make sure you're actually aware of the perceptions that are automatically generated, that are automatically creating your feelings, which are automatically creating your reality. Either way, you're not right or wrong. So...
yeah, that's a beautiful way. That takes off so much pressure and guilt, knowing there is no right or wrong to perceive. But the best way to perceive something, or see if it's a real belief, is, does it feel good? Does it resonate? If it's an expansive feeling, it most likely is right, and it's good to believe it. But if it's constricting and it instills fear, anxiety, confinement, then no, it's not for you at that moment. Use your own resonance. Judge if you want to take on or not even take on, if you resonate with what someone says, you shouldn't take on anything. You either resonate with it or you don't. And that's what Losing My Religion is all about, is breaking free and resonating with your heart frequency to produce the life that is in alignment to that. Hey Jackie, or Brian, I don't know which one. So that is our little message for the day. If any of you guys out there watching want me to pull you a little guidance card, I'd be happy. Just comment and say me if you want a card. Otherwise, Caleb, if you don't have anything else to say, we're going to wrap it up. But if you guys have a card or want a card, just message me and say me. I'll give you guys a second to respond if anyone would like a daily guidance card. Either a heart card, a chakra card I have with me right now, and a mystical shaman oracle card. I guess we have no takers. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow. We're kind of committing to this as an expression of ourself, and at the same time just putting it out there. If someone else gets something from it, that's awesome. That's all that matters. So we're just sharing our journey with you guys. All right, love you guys.